go further with the next program. Last time we had considered one simple program that was just to accept two numbers and something like that. Okay, let us go ahead with the next type of program where we want to accept the marks of the student and we want to print the result. Okay, same type, the same phase line, and here we are required to consider, say, only 5 subjects. Each one out of 100. Okay, passing in each subject will be 40 or more, and the same rules, 66% and above will be distinction, like that, and we are allowed to have 280 games. Okay, and we want to print the result in this manner. Fine. Any doubt in the problem statement itself? Should not be. Okay. So how do we start? We have already said that the program has to be divided into 3 parts. One is input, other is processing, and third is output. What will be input? The useful input, marks of 5 subjects. Output could be 3 parts. One is the total marks, second it could be percentage, and third it will be the class. So 3 outputs are expected. The rest of the data which we may not be inputting at this stage, like the name of the student, exam number, etc., that particular data is not to be processed. You will be simply accepting the name and printing it. You will be accepting the exam number and printing it. There won't be any processing as such, right? Probably exam number will require some processing, because exam number itself is totally informative about the college, because that exam number itself will contain the college code. Your numbers were F2 something something, like 36 is for SKN, it was 25 that was for SSPMS girls, yours is, Cummins is 22 20 2010 हाँ, yeah, COEP नहीं क्या. So probably exam number is to be processed afterwards when we want to separate out the college code out of it and accordingly print the college name also. Okay, but at the initial stage we are interested in only processing the marks. And if we go for something called as the logic, which is to be represented in the diagrammatic form called as flowchart, something that was very important but is rather not taught in any of the colleges now. They generally start with the programs straight away, but having a good practice related to the flowcharts will be very useful, because at that point our logic will be clear. But in your journal you are again required to draw the flowcharts. Okay, even in FE you might have copied them. Okay, so we are required to draw the flowchart, and that flowchart will use the boxes like rectangle with rounded ends will be used for start and stop. We will be using parallelogram for the input output. We will be using rectangle generally for assignment, and we will be using rhombus for the decision. Okay. Now if I can give you the flowchart for the first time, because I don't have that much space, I will simply draw the flow chart in the empty form. And you are required to tell me what exactly I could be doing in that. Just the logical one. So we may not be having any specific statement into it. Some condition to be true, some condition to be false. Then some box, then some decision once again, and here again some box, some decision, and two outlets, true, false. Here also there could be number of outlets, I would say. That itself is a hint for you. And then there will be all printf statements, rather output statements, after which we will be going for termination of the program. This is how roughly that particular flow chart should look like. So can you tell me what exactly we should be considering over here? Don't take it down, it's of no use to you. First is obviously start. Then input. You will have to input 5 marks. What could be this box? Yeah, it will be a question whether the student has passed in all the subjects. Yes, no. If passed in all, calculate the total percentage. And if the percentage is greater than 66, distinction, greater than or equal to 60, first class, greater than or equal to 50, second class, and greater than or equal to 40, pass class. We don't require these many branches in that case, and otherwise pass class. Here what this box will do? Here I will say calculate in how many subjects the student has failed. If the number of subjects in which the student has failed is less than or equal to 2, then print ATKT, otherwise print fail. Stop. Is it logically true? Any doubt? From this branch you will not be coming to this branch. So there is going to be a division of the path. Processing will be dependent on some condition. It's not that any processing can be done at any moment. It will be subject to the particular condition, either it is true or it is false. Okay? Now when I proceed further, you can take down these 4 boxes if you are not aware of that, because then I am required to expand this flow chart, because you cannot just say whether passed in all 5 subjects. That condition cannot be written at the initial juncture. So we will have to expand that block also. Don't draw this flow chart, it's of no use. This is a first thinking that you could be having, roughly. May not be as useful as to write the program, but we should have the idea as what is our plan of action. How do we plan to solve the particular problem? Now, if I go on expanding it, I will have to still draw a smaller diagram now, because I am not going to write anything in these boxes. I have got in all 5 subjects. So this same thing I am going to draw 5 times. Can you just tell me what is my plan? I am going to write it 5 times. Think and tell me. I am expanding this block. Anybody? Obviously, each box must be dealing with marks of one subject. Okay. This condition could be M1 greater than or equal to 40. True, false. Like that, 5. What I could be doing in this box? Just on one subject, and he fails in M2 and he fails in M3. I give you the hint. I say count equal to 0. In short, I want to count in how many subjects the student has failed. Whenever student fails in a subject, I will say count takes the value of count plus 1. So increment it. So if fails in M1, count will become 1. Otherwise, count remains 0. Fails in M2, count will be incremented. Otherwise, count stays. Like that, when I go through this, here I will have to check count. If count is equal to 0, what does it indicate? Passed in all. I was having one processing over here, count in how many subjects the student has failed. So I am probably taking this inside and I am putting a counter also. Will serve 2 purposes. Count equal to 0 will tell me whether the student has passed in all the 5 subjects, and the counter value less than or equal to 2 will tell me that it is 80 KT. Otherwise, fail. So here my condition will be if count is equal to 0, true, then obviously you will say total equal to, and average equal to. Formula you can write afterwards. It is M1 plus M2 plus M3 plus M4 plus M5. Average will be total by 5. And then we are required to expand this. Over here, if counter is not equal to 0, then I am required to check counter less than or equal to 2. On true, 80 KT. On false, fail. After that, we can stop. So at least one link is over. This is still pending. I will call it as continuation A. So this job has been done. Now continuation at A. Will go like average greater than or equal to 66. On true, print distinction, and after that stop. On false, average greater than or equal to 60. On true, print first class. Stop. Question is, if the student has secured 70%, then what will be printed? Only distinction? Yes. What if this condition is checked? 70 is greater than 60? Yes. So will it print first class? No. The reason is, if it is greater than 66, this path is taken and we are out. When we come over here, we are very much sure that the marks are definitely less than 66 and greater than 60. So I am not checking two conditions. Otherwise, condition for first class is greater than or equal to 60 and less than 66. But if you design the flowchart in this way, we don't require that. And while writing the program also, we are required to take the same care. So here, on false, I will check another condition. Average greater than or equal to 50. On true, second class. Otherwise, pass class. Because if average is less than 50, can the student be fail? No. The reason is because count was 0. That's why we are here. So under any circumstances, the average must be greater than 40. In each subject, the student has secured 40 or more, and he has not failed in any subject. So we come to link A. That means when we check this particular condition, average greater than or equal to 50 being false, will indicate that average is greater than 40. We don't have to check it. And even if you check it, that will always be true. This will be the detailed flowchart. Now we are not missing any link. We are not writing any question in English. We are putting it in the mathematical form. Every condition has been put in the mathematical form. Okay, if the student fails in all the subjects, then every time path taken will be like this, and every time counter will be incremented. And there is no shortcut, at least for the time being. Getting it? This particular flowchart doesn't talk anything about the printf statements which will come one after the other. If you want to print it in the mark list form and whatnot, that won't be there. Flowchart will be drawing only for the processing. While writing this, you will have to say print fail, print etiquette, because that is output box. Whereas here you will have to say read M1, M2, M3, M5. Okay. Drawing the flowchart should be the good habit actually. Without that, at least initially we cannot start with the programs. One should not. If you are directly typing it on the machine and trying it out, then you are likely to make several mistakes because you are not logically thorough with that particular problem. Flowchart is the best possible way by which the logic can be understood. I am not concentrating on the formulation. See, even if I am required to write some program for calculating the interest on the loan amount and calculate how many installments you are required to pay and what is the balance amount, that is all calculation. When are you going to call me a defaulter if I have not paid the installment for 6 months? So in the processing, my job will be to check how many installments are due till today and how many installments you have paid. If the difference in the two is 6 or more, you are a defaulter. Rest all mathematical formulae as how to calculate the interest, what was the installment, etc., that's of no use, because that somebody will be providing you. It will be, the formula will be given to you, that the interest calculation goes like this. This will be the EMI, monthly installment. Okay, we are required to check whether the person has paid all the installments or not. If not all the installments, when or how many installments are lagging. In that case, whether to declare him as a defaulter, or before that there could be a step that if 3 installments have missed, then probably will be giving him a warning. Okay, at the 5th installment it will be a final warning. 3rd installment, 4th installment, 5th installment, there will be warnings. At the 6th installment, we will be sending some persons to recover the amount. But that will be every month's report. Okay. When you are required to write the program, we will be concentrating on that, because our job is to find who is the defaulter. Got it? Another program which can be written exactly on the same lines is to check whether 3 numbers S1, S2, S3, which represent the sides of the triangle, whether these 3 numbers form a triangle. Can they be sides of the triangle? Question 1. And if they form a triangle, then what is the type of the triangle? Can you have a triangle of sides 3, 4, 5? You can. Can you have a triangle having sides 1, 2, 3? Yes, no? What is the condition? What is the condition? Sum of two sides, sum of rather every two sides should be greater than third. That means the condition to form a triangle will go like S1 plus S2 should be greater than S3. No, it's not sufficient. You will have to even check S2 plus S3 greater than S1. You will have to also check S1 plus S3 greater than S2. If all the 3 conditions are satisfied, then they form a triangle. Otherwise, we will say that triangle is not possible. Like we are saying, fail. And then if all the 3 sides are equal, that is S1 equal to S2 and S2 equal to S3, should we check the third one? Need not. Because S1 equal to S2 and S2 equal to S3 will indicate S1 equal to S3. In that case, it is equilateral triangle. But if only one of the condition is true, if S1 equal to S2 or S2 equal to S3 or S3 equal to S1, it will be isosceles. What will be the third type? Right angled. Condition? S1 square plus S2 square should be equal to S3 square, or S2 square plus S3 square should be equal to S1 square, or S1 square plus S3 square equal to S2 square. So ultimately what you will have is a flowchart similar to this, only the boxes are changing. Conditions inside the boxes are changing. Instead of 5 inputs, you have 3 inputs. But initially, to calculate the result, we were checking whether the marks are greater than 40. Like that, we will check whether the 3 sides form a triangle. If yes, then type of triangle. If no, it fails. It's not a triangle. And then which of the condition is true, accordingly we can draw the flowchart. So there could be several programs which can be discussed exactly on the same lines, where we are mainly discussing the conditions and the decisions based on them. Okay? And those conditions can go, like I was talking about AND. S1 equal to S2 and S2 equal to S3. Here the condition would have been if M1 is greater than or equal to 40 and M2 is greater than or equal to 40 and M3 is greater than or equal to 40 and M4 is greater than or equal to 40 and M5 is greater than or equal to 40, then pass. Otherwise, lost. Nahi. Because whether the student has failed in one subject or all the 5, still that condition will be false. So otherwise, I was requiring that box, to calculate in how many subjects the student has failed. And how to calculate in how many subjects he has failed? Same logic. Every subject is to be checked. Failed हो गया तो counter increment करना होगा. That will give you the count in how many subjects he has failed. So I will be using the same condition twice. That's why I have omitted that, and I said that instead of checking whether passed in all 5 subjects, let us count in how many subjects the student has failed. If that counter comes out to be 0, other way around, if I change all these, you can tell me that, if I change all these true and false, if I make this true and this is false, this as true and this is false, true and false, true and false, true and false, can you tell me the condition over here? I am changing all the trues and false इस level से ऊपर. Everything else is same. What that counter will represent? That counter will represent in how many subjects the student has passed. Because then the counter will increment when the condition is true. Counter being 5, pass. Counter not equal to 5 is failing. Again counter less than or equal to 2, nahi. Counter greater than or equal to 3, counter greater than or equal to 3, 80 KT. समझ में आ रहा? Counter less than or equal to 2, false, is fail. Okay, that means ये true false change किए तो ये true false भी change हो जाते, ये condition बदल जाती. Program logic remains the same. So it is not the condition that I should always check in how many subjects the student has failed. I can always check in how many subjects the student has passed. And then in college, when we ask you to write the program, I don't know what is the problem with the teachers or the students, but then I find that everybody is writing the program in the same logic. It is as if the program is dictated to you in the class, even in the second year, whether it is computer or IT, whether it is Cummins or Sehgad. It goes like that. That is certainly not expected. Whatever teacher tells you in the class, that will be the basis for your thinking. If all the printouts they appear to be alike, then when will you learn programming? Then you are simply learning the typing work over there. And that's why I am telling you all the variations here. That those variations should be applied. But I cannot help in changing this particular logic. If I am to check for the etiquette, then I will have to count in how many subjects the student has failed or in how many subjects the student has passed. I cannot escape that. Now you can always say that you are calculating total and average when the student has passed in all 5. Whereas you will say that even if I have failed in all the subject, the mark list shows me the total. Then what do? Where should I put this box? Because in my case, the total will be calculated only if you have passed in all 5 subjects. But total should be always calculated. Even the percentage should be always calculated. Chalo. Where should I put this box? Above? Above count equal to 0. You check in how many subjects the student has passed or failed. Calculate total and average, that is mandatory. And so this link will directly go to A, because total and average has been calculated prior. Okay. So when I used to teach in the college, I never gave all these variations with the intention that when I am to give you the term work marks, and if I know that I have given you the flowchart in this manner, and if every student comes with the fail or ATKT student mark list with no total on it, I used to give him say 12 marks out of 25 for that assignment, because then these are the marks for your typing. Is this assignment out of the way? No. By this time you have seen 2 university mark lists, so you should be knowing what it is to be done. When I write a flowchart, it doesn't mean that this is the only way. There could be some variations. Got it? So that will be the basis, whatever is taught to you in the college or over here, because right now I am doing all this exercise. Every time it may not be possible, because then I can keep on writing the same program, same flowchart in another 2 lectures also. We will keep on discussing the result issue only. Okay. To avoid all that, I have included that subject discrete mathematics in the same course, because over there I am required to discuss the logic behind every problem. Otherwise it was not necessary. I shouldn't have clubbed it in this particular batch, because then I can easily point out as how many ways could be there to solve a particular problem, and in how many different ways the solution can be correct one. Okay. I want you to draw the detailed flowchart, no empty boxes. You will have to write it fully. Okay. Draw it, then we will write the program for it. And from next time it will be better if you get that stencil which contains these flowchart boxes also. Let us have this habit right from day 1. So we won't be drawing it freehand. Use that stencil and put a box. Your statement may go outside, that doesn't matter. Like in my case, this is going out. But ठीक है, क्योंकि stencil जब use करोगे तो that box size is limited. Now, we will proceed with the code for it. Hash include stdio.h, void main. This time I am writing it, next time probably I may dictate it also. Okay, so one should be very attentive. You can write it with me also. It is int m1, m2, m3, m4, m5, total, count. All the variables which I am using in my program. We also have average, float AVG, because it will be percentage, so fractional part will come into picture. Okay. enter marks of 5 subjects, comma, out of 100. This is in the bracket. Write it on the same line. Backslash n, double quotes complete, bracket complete, semicolon. Because if some marks are out of 50 and some marks are out of 100, then our average will go wrong. So we are saying that enter marks of 5 subjects into bracket out of 100. This is all a message. Okay. And we are required to read 5 values, which is scanf double quotes 5 times %d, double quotes complete, comma, ampersand m1, ampersand m2, ampersand m3, ampersand m4, ampersand m5, bracket complete, semicolon. As a good practice, we put a comment, says that input part over. It is slash star to star slash, which is just the information. Between these two, you can write anything that should be written in plain English to inform what you are doing, what is the part. Okay. So that afterwards, if you cannot recollect what you have written, these comments will help you. And these comments should be there through and through your programs, right from day 1 till the end. We normally avoid these comments because the length of the program will increase, but comments are not the part of the program. They will be always ignored by the compiler. Okay, that is the information present at that point, so that you will come to know what you are doing afterwards also. Okay. Now, once I have got all these marks, then as per the flow chart, probably I am setting count to 0. Set count equal to 0. This is the assignment statement. Now I am saying if m1 is less than 40, count equal to count plus 1, and I am exactly using it other way around. Previously it was on false I was incrementing. Now I have changed the condition and on true I am incrementing. Because I cannot write if statement which doesn't have the true part but only the false. Even in plain English you cannot say such a statement. If you give me a ring tomorrow, else I will come. Can you say that? You can say, if you give me ring tomorrow, I will come, otherwise we will meet at Vaishali. Fine. It's okay, take. But you cannot just have a clause which is not having the true block of it and only the else. It can be other way around. If you give me a ring tomorrow, then we will meet. So the otherwise part may not be there. Like in this case, I am not going to have any else. I am not going to have any else. Fine. So true part is compulsory, then part, else is optional. I am not using it here, I might use it afterwards. Such 5 statements, m2 less than 40, count equal to count plus 1, if m3 less than 40, count equal to count plus 1, if m4 less than 40, count equal to count plus 1, if m5 less than 40, count equal to count plus 1. Fine. Observe that all these if are one below the other. यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा अंदर गया है, but and this is shifted inside. Okay, this is called as the indentation of the program. All these things, they should be one below the other, straight. After this, we have said that we are required to find the total. So total is equal to M1 plus M2 plus M3 plus M4 plus M5 semicolon, and average is equal to total upon 5.0. So we got the average. Okay. Then I will check if count equal to 0. Single equal to has got a meaning of assigning, and when I want to compare the two sides, I will use double equal to as a convention. Otherwise, how will you distinguish between the two? Whether you want to assign or whether you want to compare. Okay. So this is a convention. Double equal to should be used when you want to compare the two values. So if count is equal to 0, now I am going to say opening curly bracket. Okay? In all these cases, I was having a single statement on true. When I want to have multiple statements on true, like here, I am going to write several if blocks. Okay? And then those are to be executed if count is 0. If count is not equal to 0, then I will have other condition. While drawing the flowchart, you can have branches, so you can have the things parallel. In program, you cannot have them. You will have to take those parts one below the other. True block, then false block. So it has to be a linear entity. Program is going to execute in the linear manner, and if branching is there, it might skip one part, one block or other block. Okay, like over here, if M1 is greater than 40, then this will be skipped, we will be here. But if it is less than 40, counter will be incremented and this will be executed. So sometimes we might omit some statements dependent on the condition, but the entire program structure will be the linear one, line by line. So here I will check if, don't write, see it first. If average is greater than or equal to 66, I will straight away say printf distinction. And if at all, I write the next statement, like, that's why I said don't write it. Average greater than or equal to 60, printf first class. Then this is not as per the flowchart, because when the marks are 70, it will print distinction. It will come down and will print this also. I don't want that to happen. Okay. So I will have to go for, I am not suggesting anything like else if, but I am saying else if. I am not writing else if, I am writing else and if on the next line. Else if average greater than or equal to 60, printf first class. Else on the next line, if average greater than or equal to 50, printf. See, every time I am moving inside, इस I के नीचे ये E है, इसके नीचे ये, that is the indentation. Printf second class. Else printf pass class. Okay, so only one result will be printed. I will close this curly bracket. This is the entire block to be executed when count is 0. Right? That means he has passed in all the subjects. Else, if count is less than or equal to 2, printf fails ATKT. Else printf fails. Get ch just to hold the screen. Close curly bracket. Got it? It should be written like this only. in the notebook, and these conditions are to be followed. Okay. So I am showing you a blocked if, I am showing you a single if with else, sometimes if without else. So probably all the types of if statements are covered into this. So we don't have to learn the syntax. That was my first day's point. Okay, we can probably understand it. It is not that difficult. The statement is not complete when you are just saying if counter is less than 2. You will have to complete it. So when you complete it, then the semicolon. Okay. But then are you going to get marks like 14.5 etc.? The reason behind it is integer is going to consume only 2 bytes of memory, and float when you write, it is going to consume 4 bytes of memory. When the data itself is integer, you should not be wasting the memory. I know that only average is to be float. Okay. And that's why we are actually using it in this manner. There are 7 variables integer, so I have already saved 14 bytes. That should be the correct policy. Okay. And here I have written 5.0. Reason is, if I would have written total by 5, it would have been integer division. Like 214 upon 5 should result in 42.8. Whereas if you just write it as 5, it will come out to be 42.0.